Right, the next exercise that I'm going to add in directly after doing the lying decline leg raises are good old-fashioned crunches. Probably one of the best, certainly one of the best abdominal exercises to do. But I'm going to add a twist in. Not literally a twist, although you can add them in, but I'm going to add a secondary kind of exercise in. And that's a leg up or V up. So a double crunch if you like. Now I'll show a few variations of doing this, but really, let's be honest, an ab crunch is one of the best for hitting the upper abdominals. But with the legs up and adding a lower crunch in as well, I've got a double crunch action. I'm working my lower abs and my upper abs and having to stabilize. So a lot more muscles are coming into play and being worked than if I was just doing a floor crunch. Now we can add weight in as well, but really there's no need to add weight if you're doing your lower leg and the upper abs, because let's be honest, it's hard enough and it's going to be very efficient as a superset exercise for what we're trying to achieve, which is a chiseled, carved, defined, separated, all of these words, whatever you want to use to get that six-pack look. So here's how to do it. Still one of the best exercises. Now, there's a few variations that you can add in. I'm going to show you some of these. One is to add a twist in, which is great. Bring one leg off and bring the elbow towards that knee. So again, you've got to stabilize yourself in your core. You're working both the lower and the upper abdominals, and now we're starting to involve the obliques. These side muscles here that basically frame that six-pack, the cornerstone of what many consider to be the height or the peak of fitness. So let me show you that first. That's quite a bit harder. It takes a lot more effort and control to keep that consistent repetitions, the movement and the tempo going whilst staying in control without falling over and shaking. So my abs are really starting to shake and fibrillate towards the end of just a few repetitions there. That's a great advanced technique to maybe add in at the end of 15, 20 repetitions when you feel like you've only got a few more reps left inside of you. So turn up the heat even more towards the end of your reps. Let me show you another variation of that. Now I'm going to keep my feet down on this one and add a small weight in. So I'm adding further resistance to my upper abdomen. Now you can see two different ways of holding the weight and lifting it. One, I had it close to my chest, which, like when we did the first exercise, it follows that angle, the angle of closing my shoulder towards my hips. And the second one was holding the weight out, keeping the arm straight, and actually pushing the weight up as I lift up. So I'm closing the angle between the shoulders and the hips, but the weight is going vertically up. Two different ways of training, two different feelings in the muscle, and really it comes down to preference. Both are equally as good, if you like. I personally prefer keeping the weight close to my chest because I can really focus and concentrate on the repetitions and feeling that muscular contraction at the end of each repetition, instead of holding the weight out my arms may start to tire, and then I've got that balance or stabilization that I also have to focus on and keep an eye with the weight over. And plus, at the end of the day, if anything does happen, the weight's on my chest, that's not going anywhere. It may fall off to the side. If I'm holding a plate up here, what if, and it has happened, not to me but others I've seen, or so they say, what if I'm holding the weight and it slips, or someone knocks it, or something happens, and I have this 25-pound plate 2 feet above my head? No. So maybe you want to start off holding the plate on your chest and perhaps advance for the last few repetitions, like I said, keeping that plate out and just pumping it for a few more reps. Got it? Good. Okay, let's move on to the next exercise.